Hi, everyone. My name's Lauren. I'm the editor-in-chief of the newspaper here at St. Louis University, and today I am with Leaving Missouri, a kind of student band. One recently graduated, but from SLU. So we've got a interesting group here, but. Okay, let's dive in. Well, first, do you guys want to introduce yourselves? You might want to.
Decided for? My name's Dan. I am the lead singer and songwriter of Leaving Missouri.
My name is Jaden, and I am a guitar player for Leaving Missouri.
My name's Jackson. I play drums for Leaving Missouri.
And
And sometimes the keyboard.
I'm Nick. I primarily play bass. I scream one song on the occasion, and I run the Venmo.
I'm Julia, and I also play guitar.
Okay, perfect. So, Leaving Missouri. Why?
So we're called Leaving Missouri because St. Louis, actually, not a lot of people know this, right on the border of another state called Illinois. And guys, I mean, okay, who's not from Missouri in Leaving Missouri?
It's just me.
So we were like, oh, Leaving Missouri is such a good name, and like let's vote on it. And it was 4v1 because he didn't want to leave. But yeah, so the rest is history with that, and we've stuck with it the entire time. We haven't had any other band name. It was just always that.
No, it was just hard to find one, and then we found one that this kind of works, and then we're like, we'll take it.
Yeah, there was a minute
and
where
just
we
stuck
were.
with it.
Wait, I remember there was a point where we had a show scheduled. It was like our first show. It was like at an open mic, and I remember I sent a text into our group chat, and I said, "Okay, we're incentivizing ourselves. We've been putting out a band name for so long. If we do not think of a band name by the time of the show, we're calling ourselves the Billikens."
Oh, no!
Yes, I remember that. Oh my god.
And that sent us all into
We had 4 days in our back before we had a text group chat. It was our Instagram DM group chat, and it was every 10 minutes. It was like maybe these would work, and none of them worked until
Which is why the Instagram group chat is still called whatever the band is called because
amazing.
we were still deciding on a name. So lots of lore for that question, actually. I was like, damn.
That being said, what were the other contenders? What were some that stood out?
Wait, no, you can't say one of them because that's the password for a lot of our accounts.
That was the one I was going to say. You should talk, because I remember you had a lot of them.
Every day was
Nick-
coming up with 7.
And they were all.
No.
There were some I thought there were some good ones that I came up with. I have them all in a note in my phone. They're all really bad.
Joy Drive.
We had Joy Drive I kind of like Joy Drive still, but Leaving Missouri, that was more something else though.
We decided it sounded too much like Joy Division.
Something like
Yes.
that. But yeah, I recently looked back in that note and I was like, wow, really glad we didn't pull the trigger on any of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, but
There's a lot of old band names lying around somewhere, but far in the rear view mirror, I think. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So how did you guys meet? You said you had an Instagram group chat, which means that
Yes.
it was I'm assuming a little new.
So I was a member of KSLU, which we are in the studio of right now. During my 4 years, and my junior year, I put a note in the studio that said, it was just my name's Dan. I want to start a band. I just said drummer and guitarist. I wasn't thinking this far ahead to this beautiful face right here. So then, Julia, what did you say?
Newbie.
What did Julia say? Because Julia was the first to reach out.
I don't remember what I said. I remember seeing it said, guitarist, drummer, wanted, message Daniel
It was
Burness.
like a carrot.
Yeah, and so I found you on GroupMe, I think, because that was the only I didn't know how to find you, and I don't remember. I think I was just hey, I'd like to play guitar. I'm interested.
So she responded, and Jackson responded.
And I remember I also texted you on GroupMe, and I was like, hey, you still need a drummer? And I think we just kind of took it from there. There was a I added these two on because we were looking for more people to fill out the lineup.
Yeah, I remember you called me in to your dorm freshman year. It was super ominous. I was like, am I in trouble?
He was in trouble.
And I remember at the time it was like Daniel, Jackson, me, Julia for like we had never even like met in the same room, and there was like one other dude who was in it, and then like the day that we were all gonna meet, he was like, I'm actually not gonna do this. And Jackson and I had known Jaden because we lived down the hall, like we all lived in the same hall. So like that day it was like we literally texted Jaden like on the spot. We were like, hey, do you want to be in a band?
And Jaden was like, yes.
Yeah. So like this is it's the original lineup is.
Yeah.
But there is a secret sixth member.
It's true.
We've still not met him.
Oh.
He just left. His name is
I don't even know
Santino
what to
Sartoris.
say. Okay, so you guys seem to have a really good relationship, but being in a band is tough. I think we I think we all know it's hard being in a band. So have you guys had like any riffs? And you don't, yeah.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about it?
I mean,
You're looking
I've
at
talked
me
about it in
too
therapy.
much. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Nick and I are the most opinionated in the
That's
band,
true.
and I really appreciate that because like, it's better than it's better to have 5 people who are opinionated. Like we all have our opinions, and we all want what's best for the band, and that looks different to each one of us. That is so much better than having one person calling all the shots and having one person creatively behind something that 5 people are involved in.
Yeah.
Because like, the vast majority of our songs are songs that I wrote and then I sent to them and then they, did their thing with. But if I was dictating how all of these songs were going to go, this is just like an example, then we wouldn't be making interesting music, in my opinion. And so like that's why like sometimes we do clash, like and so like, but like whenever we clash, like what I take away from it is I'm always like, okay, like you know what, at least we all care, like at least we all like give a shit about it. And like a conclusion is going to come from it. It was a very long-winded response.
Yeah, we have 5 people in this band who are 5 wildly different characters.
Totally.
In that's attitude, that's mood, that's tendencies, but that's also like taste in music. So it's like all of those things come together, and I mean almost everything is so smooth. We do get into arguments because we're all different, but we all know like this is very important to us. And we're more than a band. We are a really, really tight group of friends outside of it. But yeah, I mean, the differences also come through to the music, like you were saying, and I think that's kind of what makes our sound.
Yeah, I want to say, like, to that point, it's so interesting and so fun because we do things very democratically, where it's like, if we're going to make a decision as a band, we need majority. Yeah. And I'm so glad that we're a 5-piece and not a 4-piece. Yeah. because there's been a lot of times where it's been like 2v3, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, at least the decision's made, because then, the 2 can't be mad because, they're not the majority. And so I love the spread of different influences that we have. It's so cool. And, like, it's as we've, like, grown as musicians, we end up having overlap and stuff. Like, we're like, oh, I'll be interested in the same thing as Nick is at some point in time, or I'll be interested in the same thing as Daniel, and we'll be like, oh, we should, collaborate and make some cool stuff. And so it's honestly like such a fun experience, especially working with people who are so creative and so like, guys, what if we did this? Guys, what if we did this? What if we did this? I mean, a lot of bad ideas are thrown out, but it's not for lack of like just having so much fun with it,
One thing I'll also say is that Julia is like the calm in the center of the storm. She's always like we'll like back and forth, just like, I mean, a lot of times it's Nick and I, but because I'm a firecracker or whatever. But stop it, baby. No, not here. Not while the cameras are on. what was I gonna say? But then, and then Julia's always like the voice of reason. A lot of times, there have been many like we always say like one mantra we have is Julia's always right.
Yeah.
Have been many times.
Julia could be so wrong. And it would be still Julia.
She could
Yeah.
say the sky is pink and
We'd be like, yes.
Yep, you're on it.
Who am I to argue?
I'll add that I see about 90% of the kind of arguments that take place are always over absolutely nothing, over text,
Oh, yeah.
over the
True.
dumbest stuff ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, yeah.
Important to me though.
Yeah.
And they're equally important to me.
Yeah. So you
Or
can,
me.
you can see what goes on.
Thanks for the group therapy session.
Yes.
That was much needed.
Very expanded right now.
Yes.
Yeah, my piece is protected. We do this once a month.
I'm down.
Get a beanbag bear.
There is a beanbag. There is a beanbag.
No, there's got to be like some sort of like STD under or something. Like
I cannot attest to that. Anyways, Julia, that being said, how do you feel kind of being this like calm center for the band?
Yeah, I don't know.
She's like, I did not ask for this.
Sometimes, I mean, I just like there's a lot of testosterone going around, and I think I just sometimes don't relate. Like I'm not that I don't have opinions. I'm not as strongly opinionated. You know, I'm here to have fun mostly. So sometimes I'm like, you guys give me gray hair, but like, but it's out of love. You know, I've never like had a close group of guy friends. So I feel like a lot of that is just you just be bickering and like not what I do in my life. But no, it's sweet that you said that. I don't know.
Kind
It's
of
fun.
building on that. I don't want to like just focus on you, but how is it being the only woman in the group?
It's not something I notice. I don't think I've ever thought about it. There's some jokes and things, but it's never it's never anywhere. I think first walking in, like I remember that first meeting that we had, I was like terrified, which like I'm sure a lot of people were. Part of that was also just because like, you know, I felt out of like different, but I don't think I've ever felt since then in any way. You know, it just feels like a group of friends. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is actually something Nick and I have talked about before. Like if like the dynamics are so different, just having one like woman, if it was 5 guys, it would be a completely different dynamic. Like just completely different dynamic.
Can you build on that? Talk about that a little bit.
Nick could probably build on that. Get into gender politics, please.
On the spot. I don't know. I mean, I think. Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay, I think it goes back to like her saying like there's a lot of testosterone. Like we would just be like it would probably be a bloodbath and like a few like here and there like during those disagreements.
There's been a lot of times where it'll be like someone is arguing with someone else in the group chat, and then Julia just cuts in and she's like, "What are you guys arguing about?" And we're just like, "Good point." Why are we
I don't
arguing?
even know. Like these two will go for so long.
I always know. Okay, shut up. I'm kidding.
Okay, well, so that being said, you guys have a very unique sound, and I've always loved music, and I would say like some of your characters kind of remind me of Queen.
What do you mean characters? I'm sorry.
No, just like your personalities. But I would say that like the sound that you guys have, personally, is what I think. The sound that you guys have is very different from today's music landscape. So like, where did you guys get that sound? What's your inspiration?
Okay.
This one's gonna take a minute for all of us.
Yeah, we're all gonna get
Okay, so if you were to ask me who my influences are, I would like this would be a whole nother like thing. Like
its own separate interview.
Yes, no, this would be a different this would be a podcast episode. I'd be glad to come on. Okay, so the way that I liken it, and I don't mean to like, compare myself to like a prophet, but like to me, like Lady Gaga, when she came on, like when she started out, like she was writing like rock songs, right, and like making like electro pop songs out of those, and that's one of the reasons that she was like so cool. And like to me, my biggest influences, like songwriting wise, at least for a long time, were pop musicians, specifically Lady Gaga. Carly Rae Jepsen's huge for me. every time before every show, my solo ritual is like listening to Lady Gaga on repeat, and I sometimes make them listen to her with me in backstage. Like before I record vocals, I listen to Carly Rae Jepsen because she's like the blueprint. But anyway, like I like write like pop music, and then kind of in the opposite way that like Gaga did it. Like when I write music, a lot of times I'm envisioning them as like full blown like pop songs, like radio pop songs, knowing that they're gonna have a different presentation at the end. Yeah.
No, I love Lady Gaga.
Oh, you want to just talk about that?
We will later. We will later. I love Lady Gaga, but
Stream disease.
stream disease. And so Jaden, you are definitely like you have a really great sound alongside all of you, but I would say that you have more like guitar solos. So first of all, like how long have you been playing? What's your inspiration? And like you have a lot of energy. You put your heart into it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I started playing like right when COVID started. So I think it's been like a little over 4 years now. Just like at home, my brother left an acoustic guitar, and I was like, man, I always wanted to like play an instrument, but I'd be like, oh man, it's too late. I didn't start when I was like 3, which was so stupid. Like, but then it was like had nothing else to do, so I just started. And then I would say like my influences for guitar have like really varied. Like they've changed, and I think like I'll just start naming some guitarists here.
Who's gonna be the first
yeah,
one?
so my first biggest influence on guitar was Mateus
There it
Sasso.
is.
Shout out. He's a Brazilian guitar player, and like he like learning some of his songs like made me get like so much better like so quickly, because I couldn't like I'd start like I couldn't play them at all, but then you had so much time to just kind of sit there and practice it, and then through that it kind of evolved, and then like my next biggest is a guy from Wisconsin named Greg Koch. Shout out, he's great. He's more of like a rock guy, and so I'm taking I guess like a lot of rock influences, but also like more modern stuff from like Mateus Sato. I'd say that kind of what I blend or try to blend at least.
Awesome, thank you. Jackson, how long have you been playing drums for?
Freshman year of high school is when I started. My high school at the time had a rock band, and I remember it'll be funny if he ever sees this, and because he'll be like, "What?" But there's this kid named RJ who was like a total like Led Zeppelin disciple who like he ran that rock band, and he was a really good drummer. And I remember being like, "Oh, like I want to do that," because I had been taking piano lessons. I started taking piano lessons when I was 4 or 5, and I stopped when I was 16 because I was like, drums are so much cooler, man. Like drums are awesome. But I started freshman year of high school. Yeah.
No, I used to play the drums and like the keys in middle school, so I was like, but then I stopped. But it's very much like if you're in a band, like in your like high school, they're like do everything, and then you kind of figure it out from there. But okay, Nick, you're next. How long have you been playing bass for?
I've kind of been switching, like, since I was 15, I've been going back and forth playing bass and guitar. But then I wasn't really a very good bassist whenever Leaving Missouri really started, because it wasn't, like, my thing. I wanted to play guitar, and then I was like, oh, man, like, I like bass. And, yeah, I totally just exposed the bassist, like, stereotype of, like, yeah, I didn't really mean to be a bassist. No, but, I really think I would say probably freshman year of college, just whenever I like actually locked in on bass, and yeah, but I don't really I don't really view myself as like a bassist per se. I just enjoy like song composition, and I don't really play like a bassist that you would like really like, because I don't have any like inspiration there. I just hear and play on the spot, and that's how I come up with my lines. I don't know.
Well, I would say like in neck pain specifically, you kind of do a little different than I would say a standard bassist.
Yeah, that was I'm basically playing what a rhythm guitarist would do. I just was kind of messing around in my bedroom whenever that song came to be, like the original version of Neck Pains. And I just like, that was the first time I'd ever messed with like a chord on a bass, and I was like, and then I ended up running with it.
No, awesome. Julia, how long have you been playing? You were the first one to reach out.
Yeah, I have. I think I started lessons Christmas in 3rd grade. I got a
Oh, wow.
guitar. My like grade school best friend played guitar. I'm like, that is so cool. So, my dad got me a guitar, and I started taking weekly lessons. Shout out Mario Ramirez. He's fantastic. And I think like starting that young, like it's definitely not needed, like Jane said. And I think it's in a way kind of hindered me because like it starts when you're in 3rd grade and you're going every week to classes. It starts to be like, I have homework, you know? So it's been like kind of a love-hate relationship for me, I would say. So that's why I'm really glad I got to do this, because it feels like, not that the lessons were like worth it, but like that I've achieved kind of, you know, what that 3rd grader wanted when she wanted to play guitar. So.
Awesome.
Aw, that's so sweet,
There's-
actually.
There's a really awesome picture, I believe, out there of Julia with the guitar and like wearing sunglasses. Probably how old were you in that picture?
That was the day I got it. That was when I was in whatever, how old you are in 3rd grade, I don't know.
No, we got to throw that up on the Instagram, because I always am like that's so funny. Like we've all come very far on our Instagram. On our instruments. Yeah. It is. It's somewhere. Yeah. Yes. Such a great picture. Yeah.
No, that's really touching. You guys are very dynamic, and so I think that's a nice, fresh perspective. When you're in the St. Louis music scene, it's not as popping as other cities. How do you navigate that? What are your kind of opinions on the scene right now?
I am somewhat opinionated on the matter, I think, because I've played around the Chicago scene a little bit in high school, and it's very different to the point where thank you. It's I honestly I have grown to we've been playing like the circuit around here for like almost a year, and I've completely fallen in love with the city, with the scene. I just think that it's so unique. Like there's so many like quaint little places that you can play, and we always are looking for new places to play, and we're always looking for new people to play with. And everybody we've met has been honestly so great. We've like the guy who we played our first show with, Goo Man, has become one of our really good friends, and like it's been so fun to like play alongside him and grow up alongside him, because that was like one of the first shows that he played too. And I just think there's so much room to grow here, because it's not as oversaturated, but there's so much like you can pretty much get a gig anywhere if you want to throw together a band, and that's like my favorite thing about this city. If you really put in the work, you can go and do it. It's really cool.
I have a really kind of like intimate view on it, because I work at Off Broadway, which is kind of one of the more known smaller venues here, and it's like the scene is really sparse, and you kind of hear the same names get thrown around over and over, which is like I really like that, because it's like you kind of, Goo Man said something, and he was like, there's the final bosses of like the local bands. Yeah. And he's so right, because it's like whenever you hear these names over and over, you're like, oh my god, like we gotta get a show with them, and then we do, and we're just like, oh my god. But yeah, I wish the scene was bigger, but at the same time there's something really like romantic about how like small it is, and everyone knows each other. Like Jackson and I went to a really small show the other day, and it was a bunch of bands that we had played with, and we were kind of shocked that some of them had recognized us, because it's been so long, but like that's just how it works. Everyone's friends.
Right. Yeah. One thing I'll say is one of my best friends, like in the world, and like biggest like musical partners, his name's Spencer. He was in a band called Non-Euclidean Geometry, and they started like as soon as he got to school at Wash U, and they just played all over, met tons of different bands. There was a good while where we had like 3 or 4 gigs lined up because that band had dissolved because they all graduated, and Spencer was just sending them our way. So he was really like integral in breaking us into the scene, and it's what I think that says about the scene is that people's reputations go a very long way. And there have been a lot of bands that we've played with that we have recommended to other people because they're easy to work with. They're really great people. They're like just really fun people to be around, and and we genuinely enjoy the music. Also, Spencer's solo project Charming is really good, so make sure you're streaming his singles, please. I highly recommend it if you like shoegaze.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it's a lot more welcoming. I know that it can vary, and sometimes it can be really competitive. I did want to ask about some of your songs specifically. So what was the first song that you guys worked on together?
Fragrant Fuse. It was when we first like went to practice. Did we have like 3 demos to start working on, or 2?
I think it was 3. It was Boil into Steam, Never Dies, and Fragrant
Oh
Fuse.
man,
Which is I think there were 6 songs in the drive, and there were like 3 that you guys had worked on outside of practice.
Yeah, so that first practice, I remember like trying to like, I had no idea what I was doing to try and like write guitar for like a band, so I was like, just like thinking of something, and it's like, it's so funny to like look back on because it's so lame, but it's also like, it's just like the do 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 do, and it's just like, I don't know, it's fun to see like, what's like, it's just fun to see, and Never Dies has not changed at all.
Yeah,
This is
so
the first
funny.
time we ever played it.
That's not true.
Okay, it's.
I wasn't in it for like.
Oh,
right.
That's right.
And
then we added a part for Julian because I was playing the rhythm, and then she's got her awesome line that she does, and it's like, that was also the second song we did, and we've played it at like 95 to 100% of the one of those.
I think
like
the first time we took it out was Duck Room.
we took it out once maybe.
And it was
Yeah.
monumental.
Yeah.
It's like, we were like, guys, no Never Dies. What are we gonna do?
So yeah.
What was I about to say? I very vividly remember when he was like, I've got this line for Fragrant Fuse, and I was like, let's hear it, and I was like, okay, yep, this is gonna work. Like, I just like knew as soon as it started playing, and I'll never forget like the look we all gave when we like finished it. We were like, oh my god, like that was our first run, we can actually do this.
Was there a celebration after?
Yeah.
Just
I remember just being floored.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, sorry, should I? I was like, yeah. I remember just being like, that went really well. Like, I was just, sat down behind. I remember I sat down behind my. I sat down behind my drum kit, and I did not have the drum throne, so I was just playing in like an office chair because I was just like, oh, missing a part here. And I remember we played Fragrant Fuse literally like first take, and it worked. Which was like, I was like, this is weird. And it just like, and it was our set closer for a while. And it's just like, a lot of these songs have so much longevity, and it's been so cool,
Yeah, I will say I remember it vividly as well, and just being like, that was so cool. And also like, not to toot our own horns too much, but like, I feel like that aspect of us hasn't really changed, where like for some reason we can pick a demo, all work on it individually, not know what any other person is bringing, and then we just play it once and just like clicks.
That's really interesting.
Sometimes not even.
Yeah.
There have been a few times, or there was one time, and we actually have not touched the song in a while, but one time Jaden came to practice, and he was like, hey, I've got this like great guitar like arpeggio, and he started playing it, and I was like, no way, that is the same chord progression of a song I wrote yesterday or like the other day. And I was just like, okay, just play that. I was like, play it. And then I like sang the song that I wrote over it, and we were like, no way. Like it was
Oh my
just like,
God.
it just worked out. And then Jackson came because he slept in that day. I'll never forget that.
What a
And he like walks in, and we're just like knee deep in the song, and he's like, oh, yeah, well, great, like new song.
Yeah, and then you played a drum beat, and it was a song immediately.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
That's really incredible, like truly. Wow. Okay, so that being said, this is going to be our last question. What advice would you give to anyone out there who is an aspiring musician or, maybe feels a little shy how to get out there?
yeah, I mean, if you're looking to like play music with other people, either like just for fun or you want to start a band, just like do it. Like, even if both of you are not like that good, like just get together and just mess around, try jamming. Like me and Nick did that. I mean, there's this super old video from freshman year where where it was, we took a video the first time together where we jammed, and it is so bad. Genuinely horrible. But I mean, like, we kept doing it, we kept getting together, playing, and like that, you'll get so much better the more you play with other people. So like, don't be shy, you know. People find a nice person, I guess, like, and just do it.
I would piggyback off of that. Like, this is something way outside my comfort zone of doing, and I think a lot of people feel that way because it's an intimidating thing, and I agree with Jaden. Just do it, you know. Don't. I'm seconding. Oh no, Jaden. Because yeah, it seems scary, but it's not as scary as it looks, I think.
Just to quickly piggyback off that, like, I think I do think like the whole idea of it is pretty scary, but like I think a lot of people don't want to like stand in front of a crowd. But like I think we've all learned that it's like the amount of adrenaline that you have completely melts the fear away, and it's like, yeah, so like if you're discouraged by that, don't be. I think that one's pretty fun to get over, actually.
Yes, absolutely. And to kind of wrap that up.
Are you gonna piggyback off that?
I actually think I'm gonna piggyback off that. Oh, okay, sounds good. So kind of like what everyone's saying. Get tons of reps playing with other people. The best thing about playing with other people is A, there's no other feeling like it. B, the more you play with the same people, case in point here, like the more you guys like mesh to each other's style and stuff like that as musicians, and that's how these super super tight bands get formed, is that these people are playing in their basement for like 3 years and then they're like, probably time to play a show, you know. So like that's the thing, is like there's so much value in getting to know someone else's, you know, idiosyncrasies on their instrument and things, and I just think, I mean, aside from just going and doing it, it is not nearly as hard as it looks. So that would be my advice.
And then also make sure you have material to work on.
Yeah.
I'll say, like, from a writing perspective, just like allow yourself to fail. You know, if you know that what you're doing is not good, it's because you have good taste, and that's what's gonna make you good when you get good. Is because you have good taste. So like I was looking for a song that I wrote today in my notes app, and I found one that I wrote in 2018, and I was like, good God, like, oh my God, because it was just like all still in my like Apple Notes, but. Yeah, just make sure, like, you know, you've got good material to work on, and sometimes your weaknesses will become your strength. So just, like, get to know yourself quite a bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and playing and talking with me and taking time to do this. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.